DC Comics casting people, go see 31 and make an R-rated Batman movie starring Richard Brake as the Joker. He would kill it as the Clown Prince of Crime. So I was finally able to see Rob Zombie's new movie 31. Me and Courtney bought tickets for the Fathom event screening on September 1st at the Chinese Theater in LA. This was a sort of event movie for us, so we skipped our normal local theater and drove to Hollywood Boulevard. Pretty cool spot to see Rob Zombie's new movie. Chinese Theater looks pretty cool on the outside, but it's not that cool on the inside. What was cool was that the screening included 2 new music video debuts for the songs Hideous Exhibitions of a Dedicated Gore Whore and Get Your Boots On, That's the End of Rock and Roll. There's nothing like blasting metal through movie theater speakers to get you pumped for a movie like 31. Now I'll come right out and say I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan. I love his music, I've seen him live several times, I love his style as a director. When 31 was announced, I was so excited for another gritty 70s throwback brutal Rob Zombie film in the same vein as his first 2 movies, House of 1000 Corpses and The Devil's Rejects. 31 shares far more in common with those first 2 movies than Halloween 2 or Lords of Salem. So after seeing it, where does it rank? Well, it definitely makes things harder for me because it delivers on so many aspects from past Rob Zombie movies that I love, and it's a relentlessly fun horror movie. I'm just really sick of the people that are so hung up on House of 1000 Corpses and The Devil's Rejects that they refuse to accept or be happy with anything else Rob Zombie does. When Halloween came out, he got called a sellout, or mocked for trying to remake a Carpenter film when he was really trying to do a fresh take, showing Michael's backstory. When Lords of Salem came out, I heard so many people complain about the slow burn and lockdown shots, with everything being symmetrical. Sometimes it just drives me insane how overly critical people can be of every frickin' movie these days. We're not gonna get another Captain Spaulding, accept it. Move on, and just try to have fun with a new movie for a change. Alright, that's my rant. Back to 31. The premise of this movie is simple as hell. A bunch of friends traveling together in a van get kidnapped on Halloween. They're thrown into a warehouse arena where a very posh Malcolm McDowell and 2 other weird old ladies place bets as to who has the best odds to be killed. Then they unleash sadistic murderers after them. I've got to start by talking about the dialogue. Rob Zombie gets a little Tarantino-esque with a long opening scene, introducing us to the best character in the movie, Doomhead, played by Richard Brake. Doomhead has a long opening monologue where his face is shown in close-up across the screen with cracked white makeup and blood running down his face. His eyes are piercing, and his performance as the sadistic murdering bastard is one of the most chilling opening monologues I've seen in a long time. I literally want to memorize this opening monologue because I enjoyed watching him perform it so much. Like many horror movies, there's some really goofy, over-the-top lines and some really ridiculous dialogue. There's stuff you'd probably never think you'd hear in real life. But this movie is a stylized throwback to 1970s grindhouse movies. It's not meant to be recited by Daniel Day-Lewis. Doomhead says at the beginning, "I'm not here to brighten your dismal day." And he sure as hell isn't. Richard Brake's performance as Doomhead now stands tall next to Captain Spaulding and Otis as the best Rob Zombie characters to date. There's a shot in the movie where Doomhead has the largest maniacal grin on his face. I mean, he's just smiling from ear to ear, and I instantly thought, this guy should play the Joker in the Batman universe. If they did a new 52 Joker movie, he would be absolutely perfect. The band of friends that have to fight for their lives include familiar faces from past Rob Zombie movies. There's Sherry Moon Zombie, Jeff Daniel Phillips, and Meg Foster, as well as newcomers Lawrence Hilton Jacobs and Kevin Jackson. Of that bunch, I think Jeff Daniel Phillips really stands out as Roscoe. But when you have a movie filled with a Nazi little person, 2 chainsaw-wielding clowns, a giant German in a tutu, and then of course Doomhead, those are going to be the standout characters of the movie. Now there's a lot of really out there stuff in this movie, but I had a ton of fun with it, and visually interesting characters like Schizo Head and Psycho Head were really cool to see. It's like when you go to a haunted attraction around Halloween, and there's the standout icon characters for the haunt. This movie plays out like a real haunted attraction where you can actually die. There's even a scene where the movie screen is flashing like a strobe room in a haunted house and these 2 characters are fighting one another, and it's extremely freaking intense. I've never had a seizure, but I literally thought I might during that couple-minute scene. If you're epileptic, be careful seeing this movie. Visually, 31 is very clearly a Rob Zombie movie. He pulls out all his normal tricks tributing the style of 70s horror films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The film is very gritty and noisy with a lot of handheld, tightly framed camera shots. He uses a lot of 60s and 70s classic rock, including California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas and Dream On by Aerosmith. He uses a vintage home movie film style at the beginning and end, showing the characters just being themselves. You'll see this in practically all his movies. And I enjoyed the attention to detail in different scenes, such as this series of bathroom stalls that are covered in grime and graffiti. And they completely altered a clean, sterile, white bathroom stall for this movie. There's a scene where the group is locked in a circus-like cage, and there's all these lens flares and orbs of light flooding the screen, and it ends up being really visually interesting. There's just a lot that I look forward to watching a second time. After the movie, there was a Q&A with Rob Zombie where he emphasized that his movies aren't for everyone and he doesn't really care. He came up with the idea to make 31 simple because he was struggling to finish up his hockey movie, Broad Street Bullies. He's been working on that for a couple years, and he just wanted to make a movie. 31 was filmed in just 20 days on as small a budget as he's had yet. With all that in mind, I had a hell of a fun time watching 31 and was locked into Richard Brake's every line as Doomhead. He's one of the best horror villains in years. Thanks so much for watching another Ghouls, Guts, and Gore Saw It on the movie 31. We have 2 other Saw It's from earlier this week on Kevin Smith's Yoga Hosers and the new Boar Witch movies, so check those out. Check out our other kinds of videos, which include vlogs, con recaps, and horror-themed travel videos. Please don't forget to click subscribe so you can watch more gore, and as always, stay horrible.